Chosen one, what's happening right now is not a coincidence. You didn't find this message, it found you. I need you to understand something with surgical clarity. In the last 90 seconds, while you hesitated to click, an order was issued from the throne. Your old life system has just been declared obsolete, terminated, finalized. You felt it, didn't you? That chronic weight in your chest, the exhaustion that no night's sleep can cure, the feeling of being trapped in an infinite loop where you run but never move forward, where you plant but never harvest. I'm going to tell you why this happened. It wasn't lack of effort, it wasn't lack of faith. It was a corrupted configuration running in the background of your existence. The enemy tampered with your original protocols. You were designed for abundance, but you were operating in survival mode. But something changed. Now, at this exact moment, the heavens just gave the order. Reset initiated. Your old life died in the last few seconds. What you're feeling isn't anxiety. It's the old system crashing, collapsing, being deleted line by line. And what begins now, what's loading at this instant, is the installation of your new existence. I know it seems impossible. I know you've heard promises before, but this time is different. Because this time, I'm not the one speaking. It's the architect of your destiny giving the final command, and he never fails. Now I need to take you to a place that few can see. Close your eyes for a second, take a deep breath, and come with me. There's a control room in heaven, and in it, there's a giant screen with your name on it. This isn't a metaphor, it's spiritual reality more concrete than the ground you walk on. On that screen, every area of your life is mapped in real time. Finances, health, relationships, purpose, mental peace, destiny connections. And I need you to understand what I'm seeing right now. Until 3 minutes ago, everything, absolutely everything, was flashing red. Red doesn't mean your fault. Red means tampered configuration. You didn't fail, you were sabotaged. Let me explain something that's going to change how you see the last few years of your life. You were designed to operate in abundance. You were created with protocols of prosperity, vibrant health, deep connections, and crystal clear purpose. But the enemy, he couldn't destroy you. So he did something crueler. He corrupted your protocols. He didn't take away your capacity. He just changed the settings so you'd never access what was already inside you. That's why you work so hard, but the results don't come. That's why you give everything in relationships, but always feel empty. That's why you wake up tired even after sleeping. That's why you have brilliant ideas but can never execute them. It's not laziness. It's not lack of talent. It's not a generational curse. It's a system running on the wrong settings. You were operating at 20% of your original design capacity, like a sports car being used as a wagon, like a diamond being sold as glass. And the worst part, you thought the problem was you. But today, at this exact moment, while you're listening to these words, something extraordinary is happening in the control room. God sent an archangel to your destiny screen, and he has the authority to delete, line by line, code by code, every scarcity protocol, deleted, every trauma line running in the background, erased, every strategic delay configuration planted by the enemy, removed, every financial blockage installed by generations, uninstalled. You know that feeling you've had in recent weeks, that everything is falling apart, that you're losing people, that old structures are crumbling. We interpret that as defeat, but heaven calls it catchy clearing. The Holy Spirit is removing what's incompatible with the new software he's installing now in your life system. You're not losing. You're being prepared to receive. What you call a problem, heaven calls wrong configuration being corrected. And I need you to understand the magnitude of what's happening. This isn't an adjustment. This isn't an upgrade. This is a complete reset. Factory settings, returning to the Creator's original configurations. Because God doesn't want to fix your broken life. He wants to restore you to the version He designed before the foundation of the world. That version of you that operates in abundance effortlessly. That version that attracts divine connections magnetically. That version that has crystal clear mental clarity and peace that surpasses all understanding. That version isn't a fantasy. It's your original state. And it's being reinstalled now. It may seem like nothing has changed yet, but in the control room, the indicators have already started changing from red to green, one by one. And what you're going to experience in the coming hours, in the coming days, will confirm that the impossible has just become inevitable. I know what you're feeling right now. You're looking at your life, and it seems like everything is falling apart at the same time. Relationships you thought were forever are ending. Structures you built with so much effort are crumbling. People you loved are walking away without explanation. And you're there, in the middle of the hurricane, asking, God, why now? Why, when I most need stability, is everything falling to pieces? I need you to hear this with an open heart. When God decides to rebuild a house, He doesn't paint the old walls. He demolishes what's cracked down to the foundation. What you're living through isn't destruction, it's strategic demolition. Every structure that's falling now, it was keeping you small. Every relationship that's dissolving, it was draining the energy you need for your true destiny. Let me show you something that's going to change your perspective. When you plant a seed, before it becomes a tree, it needs to die in the darkness of the soil. It breaks, it dissolves. It looks like it's rotting, but it's not rotting. It's germinating. The shell has to crack for life to emerge. And that's exactly what's happening to you right now. You're in the cracking phase, the necessary collapse, the death that precedes resurrection. I know it hurts. We know how much it hurts. Waking up and realizing that people you considered essential have simply vanished from your life. Looking back and seeing dreams you cultivated for years turning to dust in your hands. But I need you to understand something fundamental. God doesn't remove anything from you that's compatible with your future. If it's leaving your life now, it's because it was incompatible with where you're going. Heaven doesn't make calculation errors. Every door that closed because there was a prison behind it, not a palace. Every person who left because they were going to hold you back in the old version of you, the one God has already declared terminated. You're not losing. You're being emptied to be filled with something greater. Think about it. You can't put new wine in old wineskins. The wineskin bursts and the wine is lost. So what does God do? He needs to empty you completely first. Remove every residue of the old fermentation. Clean every corner, every fold, every memory that's still stuck to the walls of your soul. This isn't cruelty, it's preparation for excellence. Because what He's about to pour into you is so potent, so pure, so different from everything you've ever experienced, that if there were any remnants of the old mixed in, you wouldn't withstand the pressure of the transformation. So He's doing a complete job. And yes, it's painful, it's lonely, it's scary. You look around and it seems like you're alone, that everyone abandoned you, that you're being punished. But look at what's happening behind the scenes. While you feel abandoned, God is distancing those who would betray you in the future. While you feel rejected, God is removing those who would reject the new version of you. While you feel alone, God is creating space for the destiny connections that will catapult you to the next level. The loneliness you feel now isn't abandonment. It's strategic isolation. You're being separated from the herd because you're not a common sheep. You're a chosen one being prepared to lead, not to follow. and leaders need to be forged in solitude before being revealed in crowds. So don't panic when everything seems to be collapsing. This isn't the end of your story. It's the end of the prologue. The real book is about to begin. Now comes the part you've been waiting for, because up until now, we've talked about what's being removed, about the collapse, the demolition, the emptying. But what about what's coming in its place? I need you to pay full attention now, because what I'm about to reveal will change the way you wake up tomorrow. While the old was being torn out, the new was already being prepared. And God doesn't replace gold with bronze. He doesn't trade glory for mediocrity. What He's installing in you now is of a magnitude that your old system could never support. That's why the cleansing needed to be so radical. Let me show you what's descending from heaven into your life right now. First, the supernatural provision protocol. Until today, you operated under the system of human effort. You worked, you sweated, you wore yourself out trying to force doors to open, and you know what happened. Little results, a lot of exhaustion, but that's over. God is now installing the principle of divine favor, and favor isn't about working harder. It's about working aligned. You're going to start experiencing something that will leave you without explanation. Doors that should be locked will open by themselves. Opportunities you weren't even seeking will fall into your lap. People who should ignore you will seek you out. It's not luck, it's favor. And favor is the currency of the kingdom. When God places favor on you, the impossible becomes inevitable. Joseph had favor. He went from prison to palace in one day. Esther had favor. She went from orphanhood to royalty without pedigree, without lineage, without anything but the king's favor. And you're receiving this same principle now. Where there was financial blockage, the flow of abundance is being installed. Not abundance you conquer, abundance that finds you. You'll look back 60 days from now and won't be able to explain how certain things happened, because it wasn't your strategy. It was celestial intervention. Second, the destiny connections. You felt the loneliness. I know. You cried alone. You wondered if anyone really saw you. And while you suffered, God was doing a divine curation. He was removing those who would use you and positioning those who will propel you. The magnetism of destiny connections is now being installed in your life field. These aren't common friendships. They're not superficial networking. They're spiritual alliances. People who don't just love you, but who accelerate your calling. People who, when they enter your life, unlock resources that have been stuck for years. People who look at you and see what God sees, not what the world sees. You're going to start attracting these people, and it won't be by chance. They're being sent, guided, directed to your path like pieces on a chessboard that only heaven can see complete. And when they arrive, you'll know. Because the conversation will flow differently. The connection will be immediate. The purpose will align without forcing. Third, the restoration of original health. I know you're tired. It's not the tiredness of one bad night's sleep. It's soul tiredness, chronic fatigue, that exhaustion that no medicine can fix. But that's also being reversed now. Your cells are receiving an update to the original creation standard. Remember when you were a child and woke up with energy? When your mind was clear and your emotions were light? That wasn't innocence. That was the original design, and God is giving that back to you, not as nostalgia, as literal restoration. The mental fog that's been with you for months is being dissipated. Clarity is returning. The capacity for focus, quick decision-making, sharp discernment is being reinstalled. Your body will start responding differently. Pains that doctors couldn't explain will disappear. Energy you haven't felt in years will return. because God doesn't make repairs, He makes complete restorations. Fourth, the peace that surpasses understanding. And lastly, but perhaps most importantly, the peace of the throne is now being installed in you. It's not that everything's fine, peace. It's the no matter what comes, I know who's in control, peace. It's the peace Paul had in prison when he wrote letters of joy. It's the peace Daniel had in the lion's den when he slept among the beasts. It's the peace Jesus had in the storm when he slept in the boat while the disciples panicked. This peace doesn't make sense to the natural mind. That's why Paul said it surpasses all understanding. And it's being poured out on you now. You'll wake up tomorrow and something will be different. The weight in your chest you've carried for years will be gone. The anxiety that visited you every night will have left. And you'll know it wasn't therapy, it wasn't meditation, it wasn't breathing techniques. It was the hand of God rewriting the protocols of your inner peace. So take a deep breath, because everything that was removed is being replaced with something infinitely superior. And the best part, you don't need to force any of this. Just receive. Now I need to show you something that's written, something that's not an empty promise or cheap motivation, but a prophetic declaration that's being activated over your life at this exact moment. It's written in the book of Amos, chapter 9, verse 13, and I need you to hear this not just with your ears, but with your spirit. The days are coming when the reaper will overtake the plowman, and the planter will overtake him who treads the grapes, and the mountains will drip with new wine, and all the hills will melt. Do you understand what this means in the reality of your life? This means that the time between planting and harvesting will be compressed in a way that defies all natural logic, that goes against everything you learned about patience and long processes. This means you'll be harvesting while you're still planting, that results will come so fast you'll barely have time to process one miracle before the next one arrives. This is your new operating system, divine acceleration. For years, maybe decades, you felt like you were behind, that you lost too much time, that you wasted opportunities that will never come back. You looked at people your age who already achieved what you're still trying to start, and the comparison crushed you, made you feel like you're running a marathon you already lost before even starting. But I need you to understand something that will explode that lie once and for all. You're not behind. You're being recalibrated to advance at double, triple, exponential speed. What the enemy managed to delay for years, God will manifest in weeks. What should take a decade to build, you'll see consolidated in months. Relationships that normally would take years to mature will form in days with a depth that others never reach in an entire lifetime. Because when God decides to accelerate time over someone, He's not limited by the natural laws of cause and effect. He doesn't need to respect the timeline that the world established as normal. He compresses entire seasons into moments. He transforms nights into portals of complete transformation. Think about Joseph. He spent years as a slave, years in prison, years forgotten and abandoned. But when the day of his acceleration came, he went from cell to crown in less than 24 hours. One day, everything that was stolen from him over decades was restored and multiplied in a single day. Think about Esther. She was an orphan, without name, without position, without anything that qualified her to be queen. But when God activated acceleration over her, she didn't just become queen. She became the savior of an entire nation at a speed no one could explain. And now, at this moment, while you're hearing these words, the same principle of acceleration that operated in their lives is being activated over you. The time you think you lost wasn't wasted. It was invested in the preparation process that qualifies you to receive at maximum speed what others spend a lifetime trying to build little by little. You were strategically delayed because what's coming now is so big, so fast, so intense, that if it had arrived earlier, you would have gotten lost in the middle of the blessing. So God held you in the waiting room, not as punishment, but as protection, because he knew you needed deep roots before receiving abundant fruit. And now that the roots are firm, now that you've been emptied of the old and prepared for the new, the season of acceleration has officially begun. You'll look back 90 days from now and won't recognize the life you're living now, because the distance between where you are and where God is going to place you is so great that you'll need witnesses to believe it's not a dream. The delay is over. The wait is finished. The acceleration has been decreed, and there's no force in hell that can reverse that order. So we've arrived here, at the end of this message, but not at the end of your story. In fact, you're at the exact beginning of the most extraordinary chapter of your life, and I need you to do something now to seal everything that's been decreed over you in the last few minutes. Because it's one thing to hear the message from heaven, another thing to activate what was released. And the activation happens when you give the signal of agreement, when you declare with your own voice, with your own hands, that you receive everything that was installed, that you accept the new version of you that God is revealing. So I want you to do the following. Stop now, go to the comments, and type just 3 words. System updated. It's not superstition. It's not a magic formula. It's your conscious decree that you will no longer operate under the old settings, that you're aligned with what heaven just did in you, that you seal this moment as a watershed between who you were and who you're becoming. When you type those words, something happens in the spiritual realm that you can't see but is more real than anything tangible. The angels who were around you during this message receive the final order to implement in your natural world everything that was decreed in the spiritual world. And now comes the part you're going to love, because I'm not going to leave you waiting without signs, without confirmations, without proof that this really happened. God isn't vague. He's specific, and he's going to give you clear evidence that the reset was completed. In the next 12 hours, you're going to receive one of the following 3 signs, or if God wants to surprise you even more, you'll receive all 3 at the same time. First sign, an idea. Not just any idea, but that idea that makes your eyes light up, that makes you sit up in bed in the middle of the night and start writing, that gives you that crystal clear certainty of, this is it, this is exactly what I need to do now. And this idea will come with a level of detail and certainty you didn't have before, as if someone turned on a light in the dark room of your mind. Second sign, a contact. Someone you didn't expect will reach out to you, or you'll run into someone in a way that seems like coincidence, but you'll know it was orchestrated. It could be an unexpected message, a phone call from someone you didn't even remember anymore, a chance encounter that opens a door you didn't even know existed. And this person will bring either an opportunity or a word or a connection that will accelerate something that was stuck. Third sign, a deep peace. You'll wake up tomorrow, or maybe tonight before you sleep, and you'll feel something you haven't felt in years, maybe decades. That weight that lived in your chest, that constant anxiety that followed you like a shadow, that diffuse fear that something bad is always about to happen, will be gone. And in its place will be a peace so deep, so solid, so unshakable, that you'll know you didn't create this, that it wasn't a breathing technique or guided meditation, but the literal hand of God rewriting the chemistry of your soul. And when that sign comes, and it will come, I want you to come back here and testify. Because your testimony isn't just for you, it's fuel of faith for someone else who's watching now, who's doubting, who's wondering if this is real or just pretty words. But before you go, I need to tell you one last thing. The chosen one who started this video is not the same one who's finishing now. Something changed in you. You feel it, don't you? There's a different lightness, a hope that wasn't there when you clicked. This isn't passing emotion. It's confirmation that the decree was received, that the update was installed, that you're operating on a new frequency. So stand up now with the certainty that you're no longer in the waiting room, you're in the war room. You're no longer being prepared, you're being sent. You're no longer the old version trying to survive, you're the new creation ready to dominate. And to confirm this, tell me down below if you now feel ready and updated for the new battles. The wait is gone, the reset is complete, the acceleration has begun. Now go and operate in your new capacity, because the world is waiting for the complete version of you, and it's just been activated. Click on the video on your screen now to check out the next video.